Hey guys, well, good morning, and this is Craig Rapihana. One of the things I want to touch base on is tooling. Okay, tooling or making a mold. That's something you're gonna cross paths with it. Whether you're inventing and creating your own product or changing handles or colors, and for some reason it just seems like there's a tooling for everything, and it all comes with a certain amount of money. But here's what you need to avoid, because here's what happened is that you go there, negotiate, and you talk. Let's say you're at the Canton Fair or something, and you say, hey, how much for a tooling? I want to make this product. You know, they're always going to say, you know, $280 or $500, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. Because in the States here, that tooling can cost you up to $80,000. You know, I think one of the ones I was looking at a few years ago was like $35,000, and I'm like, wow, that's just a lot of money. Especially when you're starting out, you know, you want to try and use that money into product, right? So, you know, anyway, we went back and forth with tooling and stuff, and this recently happened where it eventually went to about $1,500, and we said, okay, that's still $1,500. That's a great price for tooling. But here's what happened. By the time they calculated everything and what we were doing, they said, look, this tooling can be about $3,000, but you know what, we'll give it to you for $1,500 as your associate, or as your manufacturing associate or manufacturing partner. You know, we'll give you a discount. You know, we'll absorb the cost. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting, because we did that and we're like, oh, this is great. Now, the manufacturer turned out to be, they just dropped the ball all the time. And I was like, wow, this is just not happening. They're dropping the ball. We need to really work something out here. We need to move. We need to grab our tooling. They quickly reminded us that they own 50% of the tooling. And I'm like, how can that be? How can you own 50% of my tooling, right? And they said, oh, because we give you a discount. The manufacturer pay half the tooling. Now, come to find out, and this is where it got interesting, because I was like, I'm at my wit's end with this. I was like, okay, this is not right. This is not fair. How did these guys get this over me? Okay, I'm experienced, but how did these guys get this over me? They just played nice. They played great. And from other tooling, I'm like, okay, that's about right. That's about fair. But what happened was they said that the tooling cost $3,000, right? But it actually really cost about $700 or $800 to do it. They got me to pay their profits on top of the tooling, and then said it cost more, so they own 50%. So I technically cannot take the tooling out of a factory. So I'm stuck with that manufacturer. And so now I'm forced into finding another manufacturer that can make the majority, and just let these guys just stay on the thread, because they do make a great product. They just can't make the next model that we're looking for, because they don't mix. You know, it's aluminum, steel mixing with nylon. They're just nylon, and they're fantastic at doing nylon. So you know what? I'll just keep you in the nylon. So I just have them stuck in the corner. That's where the tooling is. And then of course, if you move to another factory, they want to do new tooling unless you can pull it out. So the story that I learned, and the story that I learned there, was that always get a contract states that you own 100% of the tooling. Take a picture of it and get something signed straight then and there. And then also having my team in China, we're able to do that, where we own 100% of the tooling, and it's all done within the Chinese writing, the Chinese arguments, the Chinese lingo that they're putting between each other. So one of the things I want you to learn is, whenever you do the tooling, do not take a discount, because you won't own the tooling. They'll take it. And like I was saying in a couple of the other previous videos, actually I'm I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, I think. I'm going to talk about what happens if you make a lot of products, okay, and you don't want to bring them all in. Let's say the minimum is 10,000 with that tooling, and you only want 5,000. What happens to the other 5,000? Oh boy, that's a whole different story. You need a full cup of coffee for that one. But my job is to inform you, keep you posted, and really help you build your brand and really build it the right way. You get more knowledge, you get more experience by making good mistakes, okay? They're not all bad mistakes. Getting a tooling cost that the factory owns half the tooling, that's not the end of the world. It just means that I'm sort of married into them. But, you know, eventually the tooling, they'll come to me and the tooling won't be able to make the product anymore, because the first thing you have in the back of your mind is, okay, if I don't get them to do the work and I take it away from them, are they going to use the tooling, make my product and sell it on Alibaba, AliExpress? You start thinking all this crazy stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, no one's really going to steal your product. No one's going to really steal your idea unless you make a ton of products and just leave them there. But you know what? That's another conversation. So just have in the back of your mind when you think about tooling, and we can obviously help you with that. When you think about tooling, you want to have some form of note or letter or signed up saying you own that tooling, and ask them for what is 100% of the price, photographs, all that sort of stuff. So I hope that helps, but think about the tooling. So all right guys, as we say, back to work, make it a good day. There'll be a couple of failures along the way, but you know, as long as you're moving forward and you're, as they say, there's an old saying, and it's that if you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. But it's an amazing journey. I mean, I'm working from home, and you know, I still get to dress up to come to work. It's great. If I have sick kids, I can race away and pick up kids and come back and do things. But it's an exciting journey that you guys are going to travel along. So good luck, and talk to you soon.